question. Very good question. Very good question. Floyd Mayweather, Tyson Fury, Canelo Alvarez. Who has been spoon-fed opponents throughout their career? Okay. And I think this is a very loaded question, so let's get to it. I think, first of all, when we're dealing with left to right, Floyd Mayweather, I think Floyd has fought some of the best competition that competition has to offer when he was Pretty Boy, before he was a star. You know what I mean? Before the Arturo Gatti, Oscar De La Hoya fights, okay? Floyd fought everyone under the sun before that. Everybody that he could face that was worthy during his journey moving up from 26 to 54, okay? So that's what he did, all right? Everybody after that, yeah, they were spoon-fed, definitely. Even Canelo fight. Canelo was one of those hand-picked fights because people were tired of Floyd not fighting or ducking, should I say, or not even avoiding, but not fighting Manny Pacquiao, because people were just getting frustrated. We didn't have a heavyweight division back then. Let's keep it a buck. We didn't have that. What we had welterweights. We had Manny, we had Floyd. Okay, and Floyd, was fighting guys like, start fighting guys like Victor Ortiz, Robert Guerrero. You know what I mean? Marcos Maidana, and he was a handpick because he ducked Amir Khan. You know what I mean? Things like that. You ducked Winky Wright. You didn't fight Winky. We had, Vernon Forrest. He wasn't even in the picture by the time Floyd was there, to be honest. He was going to fight Paul Williams, but Paul Williams got in a bad car accident. So it's a lot of fights we didn't see Floyd fight. The Erislandy Lara fight could have happened, but, that didn't happen. So it was a lot of fights he could have fought that he avoided. Yeah. So a lot of those fights were spoon-fed from the end of Pretty Boy to the beginning of Money, because it was all about money and who and how much money that he can make based on his undefeated record. Okay, he used his undefeated record to sell the idea that he was the best, and it worked. Okay, so Floyd, was looked at upon the best. That's why he got paid the more, because the more people loved him is the equal amount of people that hated him. Okay, so yes, Floyd was spoon-fed probably through 08 through the rest of his career, okay, through 2015, because that was his last true fight. Some people count the McGregor fight, some people don't, right? So, it is what it is. Next up, Tyson Fury. Was Tyson Fury has also been spoon-fed fights. I mean, he's picked his own fights. The WBC has helped him pick his own fights. The undisputed fight came about because there was so much money introduced. And I think the reason why Tyson Fury picked those fights, because he didn't believe that nobody could beat him anyway. So his mindset was simple. Hey, let me fight who I want, because people will always think I'm the best, because he adopted the Floyd Mayweather mentality. The remedy of, hey, I'm the best because nobody beat me, so therefore I must be the best, right? So therefore, that's how that goes. And that's how that went. Okay, so Tyson Fury came back into the sport. He did the best, had the best win of his career, beating Vladimir Klitschko, a 9-year reign, which was very impressive. But what did he do after that? He took a 2.5-year hiatus. And when he came back, he fought 2 tune-up fights, and then he fought Deontay Wilder, which everyone knows Wilder is a dangerous puncher, but we also know he is a very uneducated boxer. So it wasn't as hard as people thought it was. It just wasn't super easy because it was dangerous still because of the punching power, but only the punching power of Wilder, okay? And when he perfected that, he duplicated it again and again, okay? So his pretty much his second reign has been Wilder. So Vladimir first, then Wilder second. Then after that, he fought Derek Chisora a third time, which was another cherry pick. He wanted to cherry pick Aget Kabayel, and the strange thing about that, based on what we're looking at with Kabayel, that probably would have been a mistake, right? But nonetheless, I do think that he handpicked a lot of those fights, if not all of them. Usyk, I think he knew that Usyk was a gamed opponent. I don't think he believed that Usyk was as game as he made out to be, because he has 2 wins over Tyson Fury. But other than that, the Francis Ngannou fight was also spoon-fed. You know what I mean? You got a guy that never fought as a professional boxer a day in his life. Just because he came from another combat sport doesn't mean that he was inclined to battle you. And surprisingly enough, it was a cherry pick that went bad almost in a lot of people's eyes. Francis beat Tyson Fury. So, that was a very strange situation for Tyson. But was it spoon-fed? Absolutely it was. It was spoon-fed. Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez, again, a prodigy of Mayweather. Okay, and this is the strange thing. Tyson Fury perceived himself to be a bald-headed, bigger, white version of Floyd Mayweather with the defense and all that stuff like that. Well, Canelo, Floyd gave birth to Canelo after beating Canelo, just like he did with Cotto, just like he did with a lot of fighters that ended up fighting after he retired. Well, Canelo is the cash cow in the sport. So obviously there has been some spoon-fed fights for him. However, how spoon-fed were they? Well, I think that Canelo Alvarez, after 2021, pretty much everything, minus the Bivol fight, was spoon-fed. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong. I mean, the Callum Smith fight was impressive. He did what he needed to do in that fight. Callum Smith was undefeated. So, but, you had guys like Durham in there. Jaime Munguia was spoon-fed. Edgar Berlanga was spoon-fed. And honestly, they should have fought each other to be, to even be worthy enough to fight someone like Canelo one day, not him fighting them as opponents. I thought that was weak. I thought that was real lame, and him picking those guys to fight, which they're younger fighters and they could have made a legacy for themselves. The David Benavidez fight didn't happen, and people wanted to see that just based on the size of David and the speed of David and the youth of David. So, yeah, but I mean, he always picked someone else to fight. A lot of people thought that, who's his last fight? Who did he fight last? Edgar Berlanga. Okay, well, Edgar Berlanga, all right, is a young guy that really doesn't, he has decent boxing fundamentals, but no, he doesn't deserve to be in there with Canelo Alvarez. He got a payday out of this world, and Canelo Alvarez, the fights that he does, he's admitted it, that he can do whatever he wants, okay? And I think if we were going to, I think the question would, who do you think has been spoon-fed opponents? All of them have. All of them. If you think about, you think about the whole Triple G situation. They waited Triple G out, Golden Boy standard. They waited Triple G out for him to get 35, okay? And he started looking human, half human, when he fought Danny Jacobs. After that, they then wanted to fight him. Canelo claimed not to be a heavyweight, but he wasn't a super middleweight either, so they gave him a Canelo weight. Anybody with a Canelo weight, every fight on that thing was handpicked, spoon-fed, except for probably Edis Landilada. Beefy Smith, spoon-fed. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., spoon-fed. Then he fought Golovkin, lost that fight. It was a draw, but it was a loss for Canelo Alvarez, okay? So, yeah, those were spoon-fed fights. Now, I don't know who runs the spoon-fed list. I don't really know, because all of these guys had their whole preference of picking fights. okay, spoon feeding fights to these guys. And all of them had power. And since they had power, they had leverage. And since they had leverage, they could do whatever they wanted to do. If I had to pick anybody, I would have to probably pick Floyd, because Floyd is the most highest paid fighter in the sport. And I think they did more spoon feeding to Floyd after the Pretty Boy era than any other fighter, because he did whatever he wanted to do. It's just that Canelo is unapologetic about it. He says, I can do whatever I want. He says that, and he means that. So the answer to the question, all of them. So it's probably Floyd, then Canelo, then Tyson. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about this breakdown of this question answered of who do you think has been spoon-fed the most opponents or spoon-fed opponents throughout their career. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunching.